All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a fantastic start to their Tuesday morning. You're feeling sharp, refreshed, and ready to go. Hopefully, everything sounds good here across the board. I'm assuming it does, but yeah, welcome back. Let's see what the market has in store for us here today. Now, expecting it to probably be a little bit of a slower session, right? We've got FOMC here this afternoon. Generally, any FOMC day ends up being a little bit slower, right? Or you get more of like a positioning trade than you do a trend-based trade. And if we do get a move here, I think a lot of it is going to be maybe not quite as extreme as yesterday's second trade, but things are going to move fast. I think moves are going to be relatively short, and I wouldn't expect there to be like 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours of trending markets prior to the FOMC decision. Now, we've been in a little bit of a squeeze mode here to the upside on the indexes over the last few days. And, the base expectation, right, that the price action that has always been there is always going to exist until proven otherwise. And we don't have too much evidence to suggest a proven otherwise here yet this morning, but let's make sure that we're deliberate in how we set up our trades, what kind of momentum, right, we're willing to create or is made. And then once we get a little bit of that for a little bit of that joy, then we should set ourselves up, right, for what should be a nice trading day. We also have a lot of earnings, right, that are kicking off in earnest here today, tomorrow. Crazy to schedule earnings on FOMC. You must be very confident in your financials. But let's see basically how things shape up if we can get some momentum here. And then if we can, trade it smooth, trade it well, and we'll put ourselves in a good situation. I'm going to be introducing something new here this morning. Some of the, let's call it the chat in general, has been a little bit sloppy this week, right, in timings. So what I'll be introducing here is a no question window. So when I'm starting to look for executions within, say, 30 seconds of me looking for my entry, I'm not going to be answering any questions. I'm going to try to be 100% rigid on that, right? So if, within 30 seconds of a trade, you don't know what's going on, please don't expect someone to catch you up. Your moment to have gotten those questions answered and taken care of occurs well before a trade ever happens. And I think with the way that we set things up here, it's not like I'm just saying I am in a trade and then all of a sudden you guys are catching up trying to figure out what we're doing. I'm spending all morning, all session, all day talking about what trades I'm looking at and what my positions are and all these sort of things. So if you miss it, tough shit. there's going to be another trade later or another trade tomorrow or whatever it is. But it's, I think, costing a lot of people money, which I think is extremely unfair. And we need to cut that out as soon as possible. So we'll try that out here today. We'll see how it goes. I'll do my best to maintain that as rigidly as I can. But yeah, we'll be introducing that here this morning. If you haven't already, right, please review the stream rules. A lot of the discussion that we've had here so far could be avoided if we just had a little bit more of an awareness there. So I would ask that everyone please reviews those before they join our trading session here today. All right. So first things first here, economic calendar. Big one, right? Pending home sales, fine. Don't really care about that. Crude oil inventories should impact CL, shouldn't impact NQ. And then we've got FOMC here this afternoon. From a pre-market perspective on ES, we're sitting at a 3 for 3, kind of a weak 3 for 3 because of that volume profile, but still trending action to the upside. So fine. Target here, 69.50 would be our initial kind of target. That should get taken care of by the indicator. And I still think we're pushing towards a path towards 7,000. So keeping basically a clear, I don't know, set of resistance here until then. To the downside here, we're looking at 69.30. Nice. Cool. And then probably not realistic for us to have or need 100 points mapped out on ES. If we get a 100-point move, guys, we're going to have a great day. But let's not bank on that happening. All right, NQ. Similar story here, right? 3 for 3. A little bit of a better volume profile, but I'll still call this a weak one, right? And we'll say weak vol. 3 for 3. To the upside, we're looking 26,300 as our starting point. So again, 26.4 should be our initial target here from the indicator or away from the indicator. It'd be very surprising if we aren't able to fill in that range. We got mapped out towards 500, 700, yada, yada, yada. So we'll go up towards 26. Let's go 27, whatever. So 26.8. Cool. To the downside, so we're looking at 26,200. I feel like I got way more levels lower than I do higher. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but certainly looks like it could be reasonably interesting here this morning. All right, the old crude oil. So we've got 1030 data here today, right? And then it's a red candle, increasing volume, gap up. So 2 out of 3 to the downside with volume. Theoretically, we should have pretty nice little bearish bias here. Maybe a crack towards 59.50 would be our starting point. And then I don't have to worry about those exchange limits. It's going to be a little bit higher up. And then, you know, fill it out maybe towards 58, 57 type handle. What's our 5%? Our 5% here today is going to be 57.50. We don't have too much space here. But again, you know, I love having the idea of trading something else. The idea of me venturing away from NQ might be too much for this simpleton to handle. To the upside here, we're looking at a 60.50 as our target. Then 61, and we should have reasonable space at that point. But yeah, let's see how things shape up. Okay, Apple earnings tomorrow. Green candle, decreasing volume, gap down, 1 for 3, which kind of makes sense going into earnings. Okay, Tesla, green candle, decreasing volume, gap up, 2 out of 3 without volume. Microsoft, red candle, increasing outlier, gap up. Earnings after market close here today. And we'll say 2 out of 3. All right. Can't type this morning. Okay. Amazon, green candle, increasing outlier volume, gap up, earnings tomorrow. So 3 for 3 earnings tomorrow. Good. Okay. Nvidia, massive 3 for 3. Beautiful. What a beast Nvidia is. What a beast. AMD, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So 1 for 3 to the downside. Fine. All right. Meta, red candle, increasing outlier, gap up, earnings today. Kind of a weak 2 out of 3 with volume. All right. So we'll just say has earnings today. So again, expecting probably a little bit of a choppy backdrop there. Netflix, green candle, decreasing volume, gap down. So 1 for 3 to the upside. Not really any indication of trending PA here. Google, earnings today. Red candle, decreasing volume, gap up, I guess, technically. They'll call this a 1 for 3 with earnings today. And then look at this. Vixaruni kind of bouncing back up here a little bit this morning. 16 spot 47. So looks pretty optimistic here. We can get this thing back towards that 20 handle. We're going to be back in the sweet spot, I think, of volatility. We'll see if we can get something to show up here, but does give us a little bit more implied range, which obviously makes sense with FOMC on the docket here today. And yeah, hopefully we can put ourselves in a very, very good situation. Any questions here, team? Any questions? How's everyone feeling this morning? I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you. We got a few more coming next couple days. I've just been honestly been so busy recently, so I do apologize. And then yes, we got a little bit more people here watching now than we did say 15 minutes ago. So just very briefly, right? I'm going to be introducing a new formal procedure right here inside the stream. So when I'm 30 seconds before I'm looking for a trade or I'm looking for an entry, I'm going to shut off the ability or mute basically all the questions that occur in that moment. I've gotten a lot of feedback that those are distracting. And truth be told, if you don't know what we're doing when I'm ready to click submit, you're not ready to take that trade. So please respect that, guys. When we make selfish decisions there because of a lack of preparation, you cost everyone money, and that is extremely unfair to people. So I'll be announcing that right when we're entering into those zones. Hopefully that formal announcement also gives you an idea of, hey, this is time to focus up, and you can start to set up your order window. and you can do all of those things. But yeah, let's see basically how things sort of shape up, or how they come together here this morning. I'm curious to see how that works, but should be a good day. I think it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag here, a little bit from a volatility perspective. So, I think that there's a lot of news that is in the way, kind of to a certain extent, later this afternoon, right? With a lot of earnings, and then with FOMC. So it'd be surprising to me if the market front ran that news super aggressively. It could just end up being something where we get some kind of like a positioning trade, and we maybe don't get super extended follow through. So the thing to fight back here a little bit against today would be just kind of general greed. We're expecting things to be a little bit slower, or to get maybe a little bit less follow through. So not going to get hyper aggressive or allow my greed to trick me into making decisions I don't want to make. All right. So we got 30 seconds here or so to market open. I'm going to go fill up my cup of coffee. I'll be back in about 30 seconds, and then we'll get ready here for what should hopefully be a very successful trading day. All right, so I'm back, and let's see what's in store here today. Not a massive opening range here so far, right? 23 odd points. I'm just trying to get everything set up here. All right, sweet. So let's see, right, where momentum kind of creeps in. Again, right, with so many like news headlines, right, with FOMC, with earnings occurring after today's FOMC on a lot of names, creates an environment where I think it's maybe a little bit challenging, right, for us to get just like really clean and textbook momentum. Obviously, doesn't mean that those things can't happen. Doesn't mean that those things won't happen. But we just have to have our guard up effectively, right, to not get caught in a trap. So maybe it's going to take a little bit of more time for markets to develop this AM2. It's not bad volume. It's bigger volume than we had yesterday, or it should end up being as bigger volume than what we had yesterday. So that is very positive. Like, that is a good sign of early momentum. But let's see. Good, probably better range on ES than NQ. Right, NQ 23 points, like kind of pathetic. Again, kind of gives us a bit more evidence, right, of it maybe being a slower start to the AM. right? Smallest opening range we've probably seen in 3 weeks. Ooh. And if you guys I don't know, hear me just like start like weeping randomly during the stream, I promise you it's not your fault, but it's October 29th and there's snow on the ground. So my attempts to lie to myself that the summer isn't over has officially come crashing down, and at some point I'm sure I'll have a mental episode just trying to get used to that new reality. But please bear with me. I promise won't be anything too crazy. I'm in Whistler, Mike. If I wanted to lose some teeth, maybe I'd get back into hockey. Oh, Logan, it's so humbling. Yeah, unfortunately, Willard, I end up in a lottery type system, so that does screw me over a little bit, but maybe one day. But yeah, so far so slow here. Yeah, we're not going to get increasing volume here on any of these candles. And a bit of a divergence between ES and NQ. Let's see if that sorts itself out here. All right. Still nothing. Not a terrible second candle, but no volume. Yeah, you might lose me on the beer, Logan. Now we're talking. Again, still not much going on here yet. A little bit of a slower developing market. It's not really either of those options, Willard. I can still go to the US. It's just that yeah, the visa that I applied for was they did a cap or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty stoked where I am, and I'll just end up buying a property in the Caribbean or something. Okay, maybe we have a chance here for increasing volume on NQ. Let's see. So this would be a downside breakout setup there, right? Which we do have. So now that's going to open up like potential for some downside breakdowns here. We'd like to see a little bit of a fake out occur first. So we're already starting to map out our trade here, right? And we're looking to find an appropriate stop loss location. So we have a setup. Now we're just trying to see if this wants to behave from an execution context. If we do end up getting that like elevator rejection, then we're going to start looking for an entry. So for now, we're starting to set everything up here. Stop loss would be 270. And that is still subject to change. All right, so now we're looking for a fake out above that like 280 area. My coffee's gone down the wrong pipe. Apologies. Probably the only way to make myself feel better is drink more coffee. Okay, so that would be a 281 stop loss. I'm still not super convinced I've seen the elevator rejection or a strong indication that we do have that fake out. So maybe this ends up being a nothing setup here for now. We'll still keep watching. As long as this candle closes under 278, we're still going to be in play. Okay, it did close inside that range. So stop loss here would be 284 for now. And we want to see a gentle pullback here. Reference price, I'd probably just pick this candle. So in that meantime, right, setting everything up inside my order window, 284 as a stop loss with a reference price of 278. Now, if this thing breaks down, no worries, we'll have a smooth move. And then if this thing pulls into our blue area here or into our quote unquote entry zone, we're going to be patient waiting for this thing, right, to settle in here. It's not a very big space, so we don't want to we want to give it enough room to breathe where we can see the reaction as it pulls back into that area. There's a fine line there, right? That doesn't mean wait 30 seconds. That means like wait to see what the first thing or what the first rejection or the first move in there looks like. If it's absorption and skyrocket, you wait out. If it's a rejection and bounce, then you look for your entry. So let's see. We still got a few points to go. So no question period here now, guys. Let's watch for our entries. And nice and focused here, please, right? So we're looking for a short. And let's see if we can get our entry zone to pull in, please. Just a one and done so far. Fine. Inside bar doesn't change anything. We're still in play. So just watching here, still just watching. Got to get above that 278. So 6 points away. Come on, pull in. If it doesn't set up here with that pullback into 278, then we can look for an aggressive entry towards those lows. So if this thing dies here, no big deal. We'll reset back up. So we definitely haven't missed anything yet. Man, who would have guessed that waiting for these 8 points is so difficult? Or it was going to take so long? Okay, still double inside bar, fine. Okay, watch here carefully. You're kidding. Got close, got within 2 points, not quite what we needed. So again, back to watching here. 5 points away. Close again. Okay, so watching here. What's this reaction? All right, guys, I am in average price 280.25, 280.25. There's your retest. Let's see if this thing can break down and go in our favor here. Stop loss 284. Perfect so far. Perfect so far. Okay, now let's see if this thing can flush under these lows, right? It's good increasing volume on our entry. But now we want to see some separation away. Otherwise, it's still like in that bounce zone, right, that we effectively entered in. So we want to see separation or like a difference based on our entry. Our entry effectively has been a good entry because we bought it on the pullback, not necessarily because our thesis has played out yet. Again, not super enthusiastic with this reaction here. A little bit of a worse reaction than I would have hoped. So I'm going to look to get out of this position here in a moment. I just got stopped out. So I took a $320 loss there on that stop loss. We will potentially try a different thesis again.